Your home is under agreement. The buyer has scheduled their inspection. This part of the process makes a lot of sellers uncomfortable, and that is understandable. Let me walk you through what to expect and how to think about it. Every home has a list. I want to set one expectation right up front. Every home inspection produces a long list of findings. Every single one. It does not matter how well maintained your home is. It does not matter if the home is brand new construction. A thorough inspector is going to find items to note, and that list is going to look intimidating when it arrives. Do not let it rattle you. That is exactly what a home inspection is supposed to look like. Hopefully, items we identified during our pre-listing walkthrough were addressed before we went to market. If we knew about a problem and resolved it, that is one less thing for the inspector to flag and one less conversation we need to have. But even the most prepared listing will generate findings. That is normal, and it is not personal. Expect a request. After the inspection, do not be surprised if the buyer comes back with a list of requests. Some will be minor, some may feel significant. Your first instinct may be frustration. That is understandable. A better frame is this. The buyer just spent several hours and a few $100s learning about your home in detail. They likely stretched themselves financially to get here, and many of them do not have significant cash reserves left for repairs once they close. Their requests, however they are worded, usually come from a genuine place of concern rather than an attempt to renegotiate. My job at this stage is to help you evaluate what is reasonable and what is not, and to guide you toward a response that keeps the deal intact without giving away more than necessary. What we take seriously and what we push back on. Not every inspection finding warrants a response from you. Cosmetic items, minor maintenance, and things a buyer can easily address themselves after closing are typically not worth negotiating over. What we take seriously are safety issues and material defects. Things like a furnace that is not venting properly, significant water penetration, active termite activity, or radon levels that require a mitigation system. These are items that directly affect the buyer's ability to live in the home safely and comfortably, and they are the ones most likely to become a sticking point. If a buyer is prepared to walk over a legitimate issue, it is almost always worth evaluating the cost of repair or a closing cost credit against the alternative. That alternative is putting the home back on the market, disclosing the now known defect to every subsequent buyer, absorbing additional carrying costs, and in most cases accepting a lower offer from the next buyer. The math usually favors resolution. That does not mean we give the buyer everything they ask for. It means we evaluate each request on its merits and respond strategically. Disclosure of material defects. Once an inspection has identified a material defect, that information does not disappear if this deal falls through. We are legally obligated to disclose known material defects to prospective buyers going forward. That changes the calculus significantly. A problem we could have resolved for a defined cost becomes a disclosed condition that affects every future negotiation. Addressing it is almost always the better business decision. Additional inspections. Beyond the standard home inspection, buyers may also arrange separate tests and inspections for radon, termites and wood-destroying insects, water quality, and lead paint. On lead paint specifically, if your home was built before 1978, buyers have the right to conduct a lead paint inspection. If the buyer has a child under the age of 6 living in the property, Massachusetts law requires them to test and remove it from the home. That is the buyer's obligation, not yours, but it is worth understanding how the process works and what it means for the transaction timeline. Radon is worth addressing as well. Massachusetts has areas with elevated radon levels, and if testing reveals a level that requires mitigation, a radon mitigation system is a relatively straightforward installation. In my experience, resolving it rather than negotiating around it is almost always the cleaner path. Nothing here is personal. The buyer is not attacking your home. They are protecting their investment. You did the same thing when you bought it. The inspection phase can feel like a final exam after months of preparation, but it is really just one more step in the process. Stay grounded, lean on your team member for guidance on every request, and remember that the goal is to get to the closing table with the deal intact. We have been through this many times. We will get through it with you.